Blog Talk Radio.
Since anything we say in this reality can and may be used against us,
this show is not brought to you by
Clear Channel, Voice of the Americas, Rupert Murdoch, Disney, Time Warner, ABC, CBS, NBC,
or any other on or off-planet senders or spinner of
mediocrity or mediocracy.
Nothing on this program is either endorsed, approved, nor understood by the
AMA, FCC, FDA, CPC, DOA, FBI, CIA, or any other acronym created by terrorists, and nothing said or done on this call is in any way an attempt to cure, treat, or remedy any known or unknown perceived or unperceived sickness, disease, or vice. And none of the views expressed on this show by the host, guests, or callers necessarily represent the views
of Blog Talk Radio. From Time Without Beginning, Mama Ganja, Major Tim,
Bija for President, or any other organization known or unknown on planet Earth or anywhere else in the multiverse.
Being hyper-local and hyper-temporal, infinite beings that are all
fully maladjusted to this reality. If you or any of your relatives and or friends
and or all three happen to notice
any spontaneous healing on this call or after this call,
or if any of your previous so-called enemies call you out of the blue
to tell you that they love you, as so many often do, we quasi-fictitious entities on a quasi-reality cannot claim any part of the co-creation of that miracle and or the miracle called life that you alone are choosing to be. If you are wise enough to be choosing to call into this alternative to the insanity of reality called From Time Without Beginning, aka Ganja.
Welcome to Major Tim to Ground Control. I wrote this introduction here when I was in a really pissed off mood, as you can probably tell, because I'm not really happy with the whole circus called the DNC, which stole the primary for Hillary Clinton. I'm not also, of course, happy with the either the Jackass Party or the Elephant Party's choice, which is Elmer J. Fudd. I own a mansion and a yacht. But anyway, I just feel, I was really pissed off when I was really happy when all the Bernie delegates walked out on the convention. So I don't believe Hillary won the primaries. There was so much fraud and so much corruption in it because she's a corrupt politician, and her whole wing of her party, which was the whole DNC, pretty much threw it in for her from the beginning and didn't even give Bernie a chance to run. But despite all that, the people of the world and the people of the United States stood up against the corruption and voted overwhelmingly in most cases for Bernie, even though the votes didn't get counted in most of the elections, like in California. Most of them got thrown out because they were, like myself, I voted for another country because I'm in self-imposed exile on one of the islands of the empire. Anyway, I'm sure some of you guys don't want to talk about politics. You don't want to think about politics. You want to blow up the whole system. The reason I'm going to make this call about such things is because I'm going to tell you a little story. This story was the historical Buddha. You can call him Shakyamuni. You can call him Siddhartha. You can call him Gautama, or whatever you want to call him. You can call him the king of flying lizards. It doesn't really matter, because if you don't believe that you are him and he is you, then you don't understand Buddhism, because Buddhism is all about funi, and funi means not two. So Esho funi means the oneness of life and the environment. Shikishin funi means the oneness of mind and body. Well, the mind in the Chinese characters is actually the heart with a rice field above it. So it's not the mind you think, which is the Western mind, which is the cognitive mind. It's the mind that's in your thymus area, which is your heart and your true seat of the soul. So that's what the story I'm going to tell you is about. This lady who came to the historical Buddha in India some, I don't know how many, 800 years or more before the Common Era, and she brought her dead baby to Shakyamuni. I'm going to call him Shakyamuni just for my own personal preference, where there's no real preference, because you can call a rose by any other name and it smells just as sweet, which is what Sir Francis Bacon wrote in the plays he put under the illiterate actor William Shakespeare. And he hyphenated it Shakespeare because he wanted you to know that it has nothing to do with William, who in the plays he wrote William Shakespeare. So if you guys didn't figure that out, I might have to go back and do it again. But anyway, that's a whole other story. We're talking about the Buddha now, which might be the same person. Who knows? Which, yeah, it actually is the same person, because like Jesus and like Julius Caesar and like all the other people who had the same story in history, either the historians are lying or it's the same person being reincarnated, or oneness is actually existing, which Funi means. Funi means the oneness. There's also another one called Shite Funi, which means the oneness of mentor and disciple, which means whoever your mentor is, which for me it's many people. Rika Zimmerman is one of my mentors who taught me everything about access consciousness, and she was decertified, publicly humiliated by the founders of access consciousness for deciding she no longer needs to use the clearing statement anymore, which you don't need to use any statement. You can use just your own being to clear anything you want, because you are an infinite being. So anyway, I'm getting back to this story about Shakyamuni. So Shakyamuni told this lady who came to him with the dead baby, he said, "Oh, your baby died. Oh, well, good thing you came to me, because I can make your baby come back to life." And she was crying. She says, "You serious? You serious?" He says, "Of course. It's simple. All you have to do is find a mustard seed." It was probably a hemp seed, but now it's told as a mustard seed because, the historians always like to change the reality, because actually Shakyamuni did live for 9 days before he became what we call the Buddha, which is the awakened one. When he came out of 49 days of meditation and fasting, he lived on 1 hemp seed a day. But some of the historical records will change that from hemp kanji to another kanji, which is the Chinese character for ma, which is two trees next to each other. So that's how historians like to deceive you. But anyway, I'm telling you the true story. Okay, so back to the story. I know you guys love segues into my twisted thinking. Everything is fully connected to everything else, so I can't tell you one story without connecting it to every other thing, because as you realize, we are all connected. Okay, so back to the story of Shakyamuni. He told this mother who had the dead baby in the hand, I don't know how old the dead baby was, so we'll just assume it was 2 years old or 1 year old. It died of early birth syndrome or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they called it back then. They didn't have these probably titles for the diseases we take on in this reality back then. But anyway, the baby died, and it was in the lady's arms. And he says, it's easy to bring your baby back to life. All you have to do is find me a mustard seed, bring it back, I'll make a potion, and the baby will come back to life. He said, but this mustard seed can't be a normal mustard seed. He said, you have to go throughout the village where you live and knock on every door of everyone in your village. And you have to show them your dead baby. And you have to ask if in that household they've never had a loved one passed away earlier than they expected to have the loved one passed away. And if you can find a household that has such a miracle, then bring me a mustard seed from that household. I'll grind it up and make a potion. Your baby will come back to life. And she believed him, of course, because he was the awakened one. So this is one of the expedient means. Expedient means is another word for a lie. This word lie in this reality is used as an evil, which all good and evil is really a judgment. So I've been using a lot of judgments against the two-party evil system that we live in and calling it evil, which is just a judgment. It just is that it is. So, but it can be different if we choose to step out of the system. But if we play along with the system and we just keep agreeing with the system and we keep voting for our fears, then we're never going to get out of the system. So back to the story. So she went around the village and she knocked on every door. And sure enough, no one in the village has ever heard of anyone, not only in their household, but in any other household, who had no loved ones who died prematurely. So she couldn't find this mustard seed. But in her quest to go throughout and find this mustard seed, she overcame her anger, rage, fury. Those are some of the distractor implants. Her fear, her doubt. Fear and doubt is a distractor implant. It makes you think that life and death is not two sides of the same coin. So the baby is always alive. That was the truth of the story. The baby never died. The baby just took a vacation from that little body and went on to a better, more exciting adventure probably, and probably was like the happy phantom that Tori Amos sings about. Tori Amos says, "I'll be the happy phantom. I'll wear my naughties like a jewel." Anyway, you can go listen to the song, because I keep singing parts of songs, and then BMG or one of the other multi-corporations who try to control the music you listen to, so you can't listen to the good music like I write, tells me it's copywritten and I can't sing it on my damn radio station. Anyway, so back to the punchline of the story is she overcame all this sense of grief because she realized she's not alone. She is oneness. So everywhere you thought you have a headache, so you're calling in because you have a headache, and you have a foot ache, and you have a butt ache. That reminds me of there was a an 8-track tape of comedy I had when I was a kid. It was called Blood, Sweat, and Tears. It wasn't the band Blood, Sweat, and Tears, but it was mainly before Cheech and Chong became famous. They were two stand-up comedians, and they released this Blood, Sweat, and Tears album. It's the funniest freaking album you ever listened to. We listened to it in my stepdad's VW van, and we would listen to it when the car was off. It was like our hideout. It had curtains and everything, and it had a couch. We'd hang out in there and listen to 8-track tapes on his 8-track stereo because the stereo was better than any stereo we had in the house until the battery went dead. And then he would have to go out and charge the battery. That's one thing I never really thanked my stepdad for, because I fought a lot with him because he was a military background and I was from a hippie background. So we didn't see eye to eye on many things like rules. I didn't have rules, so I didn't want to come home when he said to come home, because I said there's no such thing as time. I said that at 8 years old when he beat the shit out of me when I came home after 10 o'clock at night because he told me not to. And then I climbed in my bedroom window on the second floor of my apartment because I wanted to defy him, and then he almost threw me out the window. But anyway, he was trying to show me how military works, and I was trying to show him how hippiness works. Anyway, it's two sides of the same fucking coin. So if you don't realize that the Democrats and the Republicans are two sides of the same corruption that you keep voting for, thinking you're going to change the system by voting for them. Anyway, I'm not voting for them this time. I did vote for Bernie Sanders only because I believed he would actually win, and I believe he won. Whether that's a false belief or not, it doesn't really matter, because your points of view create your reality, and I can have as many contrary points of view as anyone else can have, and I can still create my own reality. So that's the reality I'm choosing to be in instead of the circus called democracy in America, which is just a total laughing stock of the rest of the world, because the rest of the world could have universal health care, and it's not a freaking issue. The rest of the world could have free education, and it's not an issue. The rest of the world could have livable wages. That's why in Japan, no one steals stuff. Yeah, someone stole my freaking money from my tip jar the other day, $80 or so, or more. But that is so rare in Japan, so I usually leave hundreds of dollars out when I go to the bathroom, and I tell the people watching my stage, hey, watch my money and my CDs and everything, because I have about $1,000 worth of CDs there, too, and a guitar that's worth $500, and I'm not going to take it all to the bathroom with me just because I have to take a shit or piss. So usually they watch it and it's fine, but this time I was not willing to be, know, perceive, and receive when I could trust and couldn't trust people. So that was my own lack of ability to be fully aware that caused my money to get stolen, which was a good lesson for me. So now I'm willing to be fully aware of who I can and can't trust on these islands of Califia. That's the fantasy island that I used to live on called California. It was actually thought to be an island. When Cortez's men came around the other side and saw the California peninsula, which looks like an island if you look at it, they said that's the island of Califia. That's why they call it California. Califia was in a story at the time. I think it was a Spanish writer, like a novella or novel. And Califia was a goddess on some island who seduced men, sailors, or something like that. So they said if we can get to that island, Califia, which they call California now, which they call Alta California, is the top half that got stolen from the Mexicans, and the south half is called the Southern Peninsula. I don't know what they call it anymore. Alta California and the other name I forget. Alta's above. Like alto is a higher singer than a baritone or a tenor. Anyway, I hope you guys are loving my tangents, because I think I'm just going to preach to you guys today. No, I'm not going to preach to you. Maybe I'm going to do some healing, but I just need to help you spin a new reality, because if you're going to go into this imaginary democracy system that we call the elections in America and vote your lesser of two evils because you're voting your fears, you're just going to be – fear is not real. Fear is a distractor implant. So you're being controlled by the distractor implants of your fear that keeps you thinking you're giving away your vote if you vote your conscience. But anyways, I'm not doing that because I vote for Jill Stein in the next election. She's the Green Party. I voted for Ralph Nader. The reason Ralph Nader didn't get as much support as I believe Jill Stein will get is because Ralph Nader has one eye that's lazy eye, and he looks like a kind of a crazy man. If you didn't follow his 20, 30, 40-year history of making change, getting seatbelts in cars, and making cars that don't blow up when they have a fender bender by putting the engines in the front of the car instead of the back of the car because they were blowing up, and all the other great things that Ralph Nader did. But the circus media didn't want to cover him, so he couldn't possibly win the election in 2000 only because the internet wasn't fully out, YouTube wasn't fully out. But now we have a chance to actually vote for a third-party candidate or a fourth-party candidate, because there are going to be 4 parties running in this election, and the circus called the Democratic Republican Party is going to fall by the wayside. That's my prediction. I'm standing by it. Whether it actually happens or not is up to you guys and up to the rest of the people who are willing to give up their fear and actually vote their conscience. So I just wrote $2,000. I don't know what the hell that means, but I wrote a $2,000 bill while I was talking. I call it right. Like when I talk, I start doodling, and I don't even know what I doodle until I look down. I realize I made a $2,000 bill. So whatever that means, I don't know. But maybe I'm going to wait until one of you guys donate to the show $2,000 before I take any more callers. That's a good idea. Let me take a drink. Okay. I just want to thank all you guys for staying on. I want to go first to California because the guy in California probably feels the way I feel, and I want to let go of all this anger, rage, and fury that I've been feeling, and a lot of people have been feeling about the stolen election, stolen primary. Let me just take a drink. So I'm going to let Charles preach. Charles is going to preach to you because I'm done preaching. Hey, Charles, what's up today?
Yeah, I just watched a bunch of videos on Jill Stein yesterday, and I was just blown away. So, yeah, it's hard to find them, too.
Yeah. So the great thing is, here's the irony of this whole thing. I'm going to turn your sound off for a moment while I say this because I'm getting feedback. So let me turn you off for a moment while I talk. Okay, the whole irony of the internet is, okay, the controllers of information in this reality, a.k.a. the Pentagon and the corporations that profit off the Pentagon and endless wars, for 20 to 30 years on a secret black budget, mostly funded by cocaine money that the CIA was importing into the Central Crips and the Bloods and all the other gangs that they were funneling money into to build up to destroy the African-American movements of the 60s and 70s. They pretty much dumbed them down with crack cocaine. And the reporter, Gary Webb, who reported on this, was killed, supposedly a suicide to the back of the head with someone else's gun who he didn't hold, which is how they usually say people die when they don't go along with the party line. But that was before the internet was fully out, YouTube was fully out, so we couldn't expose all these things. And then after that, as I said in one of my other posts, the guy who was exposing, we have free energy, it's available, but they keep blocking all the patents. So every time a company wants to patent free energy technology, the Pentagon, a.k.a. the military-industrial complex, a.k.a. the White House, a.k.a. the Democratic Republican Party system, blocks the patent for national security. Can you get this right? Okay, for national security, they block the patent to free energy because if we had free energy, we wouldn't be secure as a nation. Can you go figure this one out? No, they wouldn't be secure because they wouldn't have the unlimited funds of oil money that they keep oiling their oligarchy with to bring us endless wars of lies and deception to steal people's resources in other countries, which they don't need to steal if we have free energy. So this is the lie that they killed the publisher of the magazine. It was called Free Energy, I believe, Free Energy Magazine. They killed him. Also, to the back of the head with someone else's gun, and they called it, the autopsy called it a suicide, just like they also call many other political killings homicide or suicide. The funny thing is when the one guy who supposedly killed the guy who I often quote on this show, which is the father of Julian Lennon, I'll call him the father of Julian Lennon because I think Julian Lennon's last 5 or 6 CDs were so incredible they actually did better than his father's previous work, and I love his father's previous work, so I'm calling him now the father of Julian Lennon. So the father of Julian Lennon was shot by a single bullet assassin who stayed around for the cops to show up and said, when the cops showed up, I acted alone. What killer of, he said he was a fan, a super fan of the father of Julian Lennon, so he killed him because he was so much a fan. Okay, this is total mind control, ladies and gentlemen. He was part of the FBI's, we call it a COINTELPRO. They did all these assassin, and I forget what they called it. I'm sure my friend in California will know what the name of it is because it's stumping my mind right now. But they did all this mind control, people having them killed. They killed the president, and they killed the guy running his brother as president. The same way, they had one lone killer, which is a total joke because they were totally mind controlled. They couldn't even remember where they were or what they were doing. They were so mind controlled. And for a guy to kill this father of Julian Lennon and then to stand around and wait for the cops and say, I acted alone. Who's going to say I acted alone if they're not on fucking mind control? Because they obviously acted alone because that was what they were programmed to say so that they wouldn't realize it was a conspiracy to kill a singer-songwriter who, like me, spreads truth and peace and justice and was trying to, before the internet was out, could be stopped. But now that the internet is out, now that I can talk to you guys on a radio station that isn't shut down by the FCC, if I was on a radio station in California before the internet was out, they would have shut me down a long time ago. But because thanks to the Pentagon, who created the internet on a black budget of drug money, the CIA airline was called Air America. It brought in all the cocaine, and then it brought it into Arkansas for the Clintons to funnel into super PACs and other things so that they can do all these illegal things. And they created the internet with this drug money. And the internet was originally a top secret program so that the military can talk to the military in other countries so no one else knew that they can talk. But the Pentagon finally decided, wait, if we can control the people of America by giving them, they gave it to the corporations. They didn't give it to the people. They always do the free handouts to the corporations. No money, because we used drug money and it was off the budget anyway. So this was actually a free program for us too, because it only cost us 100 billion black lives who died of killing each other over cocaine money and crack money on the streets of LA and other Detroit and every damn city in the whole world where they funneled crack cocaine into, which was all funneled by the CIA, by Air America. So this stuff you couldn't talk. If I was on a radio station talking about this, I would be shot in the back of the head like Gary Webb, who you better read his book. It's called The Dark Alliance. I did a reading of it on my podcast, which was called the Peace in the Far East podcast. I'm slowly putting up my podcast because I did a year of podcasts before I decided to become a radio host. And those podcasts were all very political. I've been, for the last 3 years that I've had this radio show, I've been trying to keep my politics to the back burner, but I can't no longer hold back anymore because of the corruption in the U.S. government and the corruption in the DNC and the other parties, that I can no longer be silent. But anyway, so this is the irony. They released the internet to the people thinking they would be able to do it all in one corporation called AOL. And everyone would have to sign up to AOL, and they would all have to sign agreements that they would, if they didn't follow the party line of the AOL and didn't follow the party line of the super highway that they were creating mass information, which was all disinformation, which they really thought this would be the greatest way to get out all their disinformation, because people are starting to turn off their TVs because they're realizing CNN, Fox News, and all the other NBC, CBS is all the same bullshit lies of the same corporations who brought it to you. So the internet was the only one was going to be commercial free, right? And they said, okay, we're going to give it to you, but you have to, it has to go through one corporation called AOL, America Online. But soon, you put the virus out there, and it's the virus to kill you. The virus will turn on the perpetrators of the virus and actually create probably a new reality, which we all live in now because you're all listening to me from Japan, which you couldn't have done 10 years ago when they first released the internet because it wasn't possible. So everywhere you think it's not possible to vote for a third party and have that third party win, or a fourth party, or a fifth party, or a sixth party, or an eighth party, or a 100th party, because a real democracy would have many, many parties. It wouldn't have two parties. That is not a democracy. The countries that have democracy, like Scandinavian countries and other countries in Europe, they have a multi-party system. And if one party gets 48% of the votes, like they said Bernie Sanders got, which he got way more than that. He got about 60%. In most of the elections that they said he got 40% because they rigged it, because they threw out all the provisional ballots that they told the people who came to vote for Bernie Sanders, oh, you can vote on this provisional ballot. Because like the guy who just got killed who was working for the DNC, which I posted on my Facebook page, he was trying to expose the scandals that they were doing. They were hiring all these people to go out to polling places and tell Bernie Sanders people where to vote, and they were sending them to the wrong location. So they were saying, oh, you want to vote? Okay, what's your party affiliation? They would say, I'm Democrat. Okay. And even though they weren't Democrat, they were Green Party or they were independent who changed as Democrat because they wanted to vote for, like I did, wanted to vote for the real lesser of all evils, the only one who was worth voting for, Bernie Sanders, who actually speaks for the voice of the people. They were turned to other polling places where they weren't allowed to vote because, and they said, oh, don't worry, you can have a provisional ballot. And they weren't told that all provisional ballots were thrown away. So the corruption in the DNC this election was worse than the stealing of the election by Bush, because the stealing of the election by Bush et al., which stole the presidential election in 2000 in Florida and stole it again in 2004 in Ohio. The fraud that was done in this election was on a massive, wide scale beyond anything that the Bush cabal could have even dreamed or thought of, because their lynchmen were less astute and less effective in their deceivery than the smile while they kill people Democrat Republican bureaucracy called the DNC, RNC, which is all the same corporation. So anyway, I'm going off topic. So they said they were going to release this internet out to control us. So that's why they gave it away free to AOL and to the other corporations that benefited off it. But little did they know we would actually take control of this super highway, and we would start putting our own radio stations on. YouTube would come out and make us our own media. We don't have to watch CNN. We don't have to watch NBC. We don't have to watch PBS. We don't have to watch all the other bullshit lies of the corporate media and the other so-called public television crap like PBS and what's the other one? In Japan it's called NHK, and if you don't pay for them, the NHK report guy will come out and he'll try to bust you for not paying to watch their corporate crap called public media, which I think BBC, only because it's been around long enough, is probably a little bit better than most of the public TV and radio stations that aren't really public because they're financed by donors and they have underwriting by commercials like this show is brought to you by the think tank, the thinkers who make tanks, who call themselves think tanks, the Merck Foundation, who brings you poison chemicals to inject in your body, so you can say you're against drugs as long as you're only against drugs that are not taxed, but you're for all the drugs that are taxed. So this war on drug is a complete hoax and complete lie, like the war on terrorism and like all the other wars of bullshit information that you keep thinking you're gonna fight for peace. That's like fucking for virginity. Anyway, I'm going on and on about the internet just because I was happy to know he can actually now find a Jill Stein. Back in Ralph Nader's time, we couldn't find videos much. I had to tell you what. Charles, I'm unmuting you.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 2000, when I wanted to listen to speeches of Ralph Nader, I had to have videotapes sent to my university, through a guy who sat in L.A. I forget his name. I think he called his group the University of Enlightenment or something. He would go around all the country and he would videotape Ralph Nader and other progressive speakers, and he would make videotape and he would burn copies, and we would send him $1 a month to get his videos. And this is before YouTube. So I started a video library at my university, Soka University, before YouTube came out. Luckily, so we were predating YouTube with videos. We were circulating at all the universities of speeches of Ralph Nader and other progressive speakers that were completely cut out of the mainstream media. But now that YouTube is getting, like if you go on an NBC site or if you go on a CNN site and then you go on the Young Turks or you go on one of these independent ones, the Real News Network, the CNN and the NBC, they can't get as good ratings on YouTube videos as the independents can. So they have to bring on Jill Stein. They have to bring on Bernie Sanders. If the internet wasn't around and YouTube wasn't around, they would not have invited Bernie Sanders on any media outlet in the country like they did with Ralph Nader. So they can no longer keep us in the box anymore. Jill Stein is going to be all over the place, and she's so much more articulate than this baboon guy called Elmer J. Fudd or this Hillary lady who changes her story every weekend about what she believes in. Yeah. So it's just
issues. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's speaking exactly what Ralph Nader spoke. And Ralph Nader, Bernie Sanders was actually a carbon copy of Ralph Nader, but the only thing different about Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders actually doesn't have an eye that, and people in this world think your physical look is going to determine whether they're going to vote for you or not. So they won't vote for Ralph Nader because one of his eyes is kind of sleepy eye, and he has like I could probably do healing on him and get rid of that eye, but anyway, he has to come to me because I'm not going to do any more free healing on people like that. Anyway, I vote for Ralph Nader still, even though he's not running, because he's done so many great things in the U.S. He makes me proud. Jill Stein makes me proud. Bernie Sanders makes me proud. Charles makes me proud. So many other people make me proud for being an American, even though when I come to other countries, I would rather wear a Canada shirt sometimes because, when you say I'm from America, they go, oh. They have all these, I see. Did you vote for that lady or did you vote for that guy? I said, I didn't vote for any of them, man. I voted for the guy who won, Bernie Sanders. But anyway, the corporate media doesn't want you to know he won, so they're having a circus called the DNC convention to tell you that he didn't win. And then they're tying his hands behind his back and making him dance the jig and say he didn't win. But I still love him and I still support him. I don't care if he's dancing the jig. When you go to a circus, you have to dance the jig. It's just part of the program. So he's dancing the jig. So do you have any clearing statement? Yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking Bernie should run for Green Party and with Jill Stein vice president. Man, I would be awesome. She would give him a spot.
He still has a chance. He still has a chance. So let him.
Oh, shit.
Let him. Of course, when he goes to a circus, he has to dance the jig. That's what a circus does. He has to put on a buffoon. When you go to a circus, you have to either juggle, or you have to ride on a donkey, or you have to dress in a clown outfit, or you have to dance the jig. And that's what you do when you go to a circus. So once the circus is over, he can actually decide what he wants to do. So I'm still hopeful for Bernie Sanders because Jill Stein has invited him. The good thing is the Green Party hasn't had their convention yet. So the Green Party is still open for Bernie Sanders to get on the ticket. And Jill Stein says, I represent everything Bernie Sanders has talked about in this primary campaign that was stolen from him. So if you want to vote for Bernie Sanders, vote for me. And I'm inviting Bernie Sanders to join my ticket and be either the presidential candidate or the vice presidential candidate. She doesn't really give a shit because it really doesn't matter who's the vice president or the president. If both people are willing to lead the country, they can lead the country. Just because Joe Biden wanted to be the silent partner behind, just to give a white face to the new color that was on the scene. Anyway, I voted for Obama. I don't regret that. I did hold my nose because I didn't believe all of his campaign promises because he did change them the day he got in office. He said he was going to vote. He was going to make sure that he gets single payer in the negotiation, and as soon as he got elected, he said it's off the table. Why was it off the table? Because his campaign financing was done by the same people that Hillary Clinton's campaign financing is done by, the super PACs and the corporations that bring you NBC, CNN, PBS, Fox News, and all the other liars and spinners of mediocrity and mediaocracy that you think is news. So he can't tell you the truth if he's working for them. And Hillary Clinton can tell you whatever she wants until she gets elected, and she's going to change the whole story when she gets elected, because that's what she does. She's just a puppet for the paymasters who paid her to steal the election. So she didn't steal the election. The paymasters stole the election.
Well, that's what blows my mind, and I am kind of upset with Bernie for endorsing her. I mean, it just blows my mind that he would endorse her.
Well, he had to dance the jig. So I'm not upset with Bernie Sanders. I'm upset with the whole system for making him dance the jig, because he couldn't. The rules that they tied his hands behind his back with is he couldn't give a speech at the thing unless he endorsed her. That was the rules that they put in it. So he would have been there and in the audience crying like everyone else, because he wouldn't have been able to speak to the amazing revolution that he not only led, but he pretty much was the mascot, because he is such a great person, and he had to do what he had to do. But it's only because he had to go to a circus. So once the circus is over, we'll see what he really does. So don't lose faith in Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has been doing this for 20 or more years. He was elected in a race for senator, or was it Congress? I can't remember. As an independent, when they told him that if you vote for, they told him and his party that if everyone votes for an independent, you're going to be throwing away your votes. But the people of Vermont, which is crazy because Vermont is less progressive, I think, than a lot of other places that voted overwhelmingly, like California, for Bernie Sanders and didn't get their votes counted, or New Jersey, who actually overwhelmingly voted for Bernie Sanders, and Clinton supposedly won, which was a total joke because all the exit polls were opposite of what the actual vote count was, which means the systems were rigged, just like in Ohio and in 2004 and so they perfected it. The DNC perfected the neocon strategy, because the neocons are really behind Clinton. So if you want to vote for a neocon, if you want to vote for the Bush party, it is Clinton. The crazy goofball guy, Elmer J. Fudd, is just a fucking joke. He's a circus. He's a reality show gone viral. He's not a real candidate. Yeah. He's not a real person. He's a conglomerate of entities. He's a psychopath. So the difference between a human and a humanoid actually thinks for themselves and knows there's something else possible. A human is a conglomeration of entities. They just go along with whatever energy is pulling them which direction, because that's what they don't realize that it's someone else thinking for them. They just kind of walk like a sleepwalking zombie and just say, okay, if this guy Elmer J. Fudd says that we need to build a wall, yes, we need to build a wall because that's gonna make America safe again. Okay, yeah, walls are gonna make, the wall around between the Berlin Wall, between East and West Berlin, that sure made a lot of people safe. Yeah, okay, great, let's build a wall. The whole idea of borders is the false notion that things can't move freely around walls, under walls, because there's no firewall you can put on the internet that doesn't allow some hacker to get into your system and read your emails, as the DNC so happily realized when they fraudulently tried to coronate the lady who didn't win. Anyway, we have 60 seconds. I'm going to take one other caller because I know you're feeling the way I'm feeling. So let's go to the next call. I'll be back to you maybe. We'll see. Okay, there's 4 callers. No one else has raised their hand. If you want to raise your hand, I might take you too. I'm going to go to 11111. What's your name in the 1111111?
Is it me, Don?
Don, yes. Okay, so I really apologize, Don. We're not going to do healing today because the healing that we're going to do is to get out all of our anger. So if you disagree with everything I say, that's fine. You can tell me I'm full of shit, and that's what this call is for.
I think it's bullshit too.
Okay, good. So tell me what you want, because if we get all this anger and all this rage that we've been feeling, and all the people who are against what we think are feeling because they understand, because they're oneness too, if we can just get all that out on this call, it'll help us all heal. So what do you want to say to everyone, and to the DNC, and to the Republican Party, and to the both crooks who are on the ticket on both parties, or if you think you want to say something about the other parties who are spoilers or whatever, say whatever you want to say, because just get it all out.
Well, the people in general, I just can't see how the American public can be so ignorant. How can anybody show up for Hillary to listen to Hillary say anything? How can they be human and put up with anything like this? And then feel they have a right to complain about the state of our country.
Yeah.
Anybody that can put up or let this happen has no right to open their mouth about anything, because they're the ones causing it, allowing Hillary to still be able to speak to the people.
You're so right on.
And let alone
so Don, I want to
have somebody like Trump on the ticket. I thought it was a joke when I heard Trump talking or about running for president. I thought it was a joke.
It was a joke, and it is a joke. The whole system is a joke. It's ludicrous. I mean, there's no way. No. Oh man, I'm speechless. It's just okay.
Trump.
So we're gonna
running our country.
We're gonna get that energy out now on the call so we can clear it. So all the stupidity the humans and the walking zombies are using for the stupidity that they're choosing, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate at all times of Buddha Zillion?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot and fuck, shorts, boys and beyond. And all the stupidity of people who think voting for the lesser of two evils is going to not bring us evil, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all that times of Buddha Zillion?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot and pock, shorts, boys beyond. And all the causal incarcerations, causal incongruities, causal inculcations, causal realities, causal, I think I said it, incarnations, and of all the fear, anger, rage, fury, and all the other distractor implants that people are using to causally incarcerate themselves into a two-party system that never works and never will work, to keep them forever from the choice they truly be, to have freedom in the world and to have a world without war and without poverty and without lying sack of shit media. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all that times a Buddha Zillion?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, fun, fuck, shorts, both beyond. I love you, Don. So
thank you. You too.
We're gonna use this call to just get all that anger out. So I'm so glad you came on. I'm so glad you didn't hang up. And believe me, this is the healing that we all need right now, because any other healing we can do is not going to work, because we're all picking up the crap of all the people that we're trying to heal by giving them some kind of sense of sanity, which they're not willing to claim, own, and acknowledge. They're only willing to keep the insanity that they call the two-party system and the whole American government. It's a fictitious corporation that is parading as a country. It's not a country. It lost itself as a country a long time ago when anyway, I don't want to go on into it, but anyway, it's an entity. It's a fictitious entity called the United States of America. It's a corporation. It's not a country. So we got to bring back the country, which is actually what was the song from Sea to Shining Sea? I'm in the Pacific Ocean on an island. It's a shiny sea too. So from the Sea of Japan all the way to the Sea of Benghazi, I don't know, whatever sea you're in and whatever sea you're calling from, this Sea to Shining Sea across the globe, we're going to bring back sanity by not voting our fears, and we're going to destroy and uncreate all the fear and lies that allow the system to keep lying to us and keep telling us if we just vote our fear, we're going to somehow get ahead. So everything that is and everything that brings up for everyone or lets down for everyone, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Just say yes for us, Don. Okay, good. Right and wrong. Good, all 9 pod and puck shorts was me. Okay, I want to talk to you more, but I'm not going to because there's one other caller, and I need to get to cleaning my house because my wife and daughter are coming back from their 2 months tomorrow. And my wife started yelling at me because I took a day off work. I took a 1 class off work. She says, I'm losing $40 to pick her up at the airport. She doesn't want me to come to the airport to lose $40. But she says it's motai nai. And I told her, motai nai is like it's a waste in Japanese. They love to use that word, motai nai, anytime they don't agree with your point of view. It's their passive-aggressive way of trying to silence you. Anyway, I'm going to pick her up at the airport whether she likes it or not. And I'm losing $40 of 1 class I don't want to really teach, so who cares? Because I taught like 500 more classes than I normally teach this month just to pay for my wife's 2 months vacation in Hawaii that she didn't need to take. She said she was going to take English classes. She didn't take English classes. My daughter's school was only 6 weeks long. She didn't need to be there for 2 months, but she wanted to be away from me, which is fine. So anyway, she's back. I'm back. She's back. So we're going to have to duke it out when she gets back. Anyway, I have hope that my wife's not going to be the anger, rage, and fear monger that she was when she left Japan 2 months ago because she was in the island of American overtook the island of Hawaii, Kingdom of Hawaii, now called one of the states. Anyway, that state didn't get rigged and did vote for Bernie Sanders, so I love that state. Even I wish it was independent. Okay, so thanks a lot, Don. I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go to, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go to 575. What's your name in the 575? I know I have your name somewhere, but I can't think of it now.
This is April.
Thank you, April. What do you want to say about this whole thing?
You know, I just wish that we could get back to honesty and truth. I really, just everybody, in our personal relationships, in our work relationships, and, you know, God forbid, in the politics. You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just wish everybody get back to the truth and honesty.
Yeah.
And if there's something we can do, throw something on everybody, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So what I believe is in most of the last elections, the majority of people didn't vote, which means if the majority did vote, then the two-party system could be a 3 or 4-party system because all it takes is all the people who didn't vote because they were so sick of the thing called democracy and the thing called elections, they were just stayed home. Or they were disenfranchised by the people who scrubbed them from the voting polls because they changed their address or whatever.
You know, to be honest, Tim, I don't think people understand that there is more than just 2 parties.
Yeah,
I didn't. Because nobody talks about it on the TV stations, and I was like, when I looked at the ballot, oh, there's somebody else. Who are these people? You know, we really need to get a voice out there, and you're right, the Internet's helped a lot. We just need to keep pushing and keep telling people.
Yeah, it's gonna change. What I have hope for is Bernie Sanders got, even though I believe he won the primary, he still, even with all the stealing and all the corruption, he still got 48% of the vote, which they said at the beginning he has no chance. Because that was the narrative the corporate media wanted to spin, but they can't spin the narrative anymore because the narrative is a lie, and they try to spin lies, and this is what the corporate media has been doing for hundreds of years in America since the TV was invented or since the radio was invented. They've been spinning lies. So back in the war against Mexico, there was one guy, his name was William Randolph Hearst. He owned 25 chains of newspapers. Every one of the newspapers, he lied about everything. He said marijuana is coming in from Mexico, and it's a deadly drug that will make you kill people. It will make you rape people. It'll make you do all these things. So people thought this drug called marijuana, which they called it marijuana back then, was actually, they thought it was some deadly deadly psychoactive chemical drug that made people go crazy and kill people. Why did they believe that? Because William Randolph Hearst owned all the newspaper manufacturers in the country, and he basically, every time there was a murder or there was a rape or there was a robbery, he said this drug from Mexico was involved. Like the believed to be linked to Al-Qaeda, my song, believed to be linked to Al-Qaeda. It's like anytime they want to tell you something's wrong with someone, they say it's believed to be linked to Al-Qaeda. So this is what he did. It was believed to be linked to this drug from Mexico called marijuana. And so they sowed in the people's consciousness that, first of all, Mexico was this terrorist nation that was sending attack killer people over with marijuana to kill us all. So we fought a war against Mexico, and we fought a war against marijuana, thinking it was something that was totally invented by this psychopath who owned all the media, who has a castle in California called the Hearst Castle. And his friend, DuPont, the DuPonts, they were the first people to help him manufacture the first tree pulp paper to help the 25 chains of lying newspapers publish. So DuPont and Hearst got together with the guy who was the oil tycoon, who was financing crazy Republican ladies in New York to shut down the Congress and other places. His name was Rockefeller. He ran for Congress. He was the one who pushed prohibition, and when he pushed prohibition, he linked it with marijuana. He linked it with the fuel that was running the cars, and all the cars were run on hemp fuel or other biodiesel or other bio. The first diesel car was run on peanut oil. Diesel is a German guy from Germany, and he was a peanut farmer, so he ran his tractors on diesel, which was peanut oil. It's not the toxic chemical now that we call diesel, which is totally the antithesis of everything Diesel believed in. So Diesel would be rolling in his grave if he knew that his great engine that was run on peanut oil was now run on fossil fuels of dead algae from billions of years ago, and the stored energy of the sun that was captured by the plants of the earth that was stored underground for the evolution of the planet into a greater sun. Anyway, that's a whole other story. You're going to have to read, who is it? It's right here, Critical Past. Read Buckminster Fuller. If you want to read someone like who talked about all this stuff before he died, Buckminster Fuller, read his books because he was totally silenced on the mainstream media too. Okay, so I'm so glad you're feeling it too. So thank you. Okay, I'm going to do a clearing on this. So it's called the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clearing. Actually, we're going to do a 1, 2, 3. A 1, 2, 3 is to destroy the past, which the past does not exist. It's just an energy that is stored in our cellular body and stored in the matrix field called the internet and stored in the perception of reality that people won't let go of it because they think it's the future. It's stored in the algorithmic information, and the good thing is called algorithm because the algorithm or the algorithm of the matrix field is run on the past, creating the future. So we're going to do a 1, 2, 3 to destroy the past, all the lies that we've been fed in the past about everything that we thought was reality so we can create a better future. So I'm going to do this clearing. It's called the 1, 2, 3 clearing. So when I do the 3, everyone just send all the energy to destroy the lies of the past. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now we're going to do a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 opens the doorways to the future without the past holding it back. So this is called the 1, 2, 3, 4 clearing by Access Consciousness, which I'm putting in quotes. Okay, here it goes. We're going to destroy anything holding us back for creating the future that we know is possible, that the liars in the media tell us is not possible and there's no chance. Like they told Bernie Sanders when he ran, there was no chance he can run, so we're not going to cover him. We're not even going to interview him. We're not going to do anything, which would happen until the YouTube channel started just covering him and it started spreading virally and people couldn't no longer silence him anymore. So here goes the 1, 2, 3, 4. When I say 4, just imagine all the kill energy you can send to all the walls of this reality that are holding back a better reality from being created. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is to be the algorithm interrupt energy that interrupts all the algorithms. And Al Gore can't dance, so he doesn't have rhythm. And that's why he gave away the stolen election to the Bush cabal, because he had no rhythm to dance the jig or any other dance. I love Al Gore too, but I didn't vote for him because I voted for Nader because I knew he didn't have a backbone and he would probably just continue the wars that Bush continued, that Clinton started. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to destroy all the algorithms that hold us locked into causal reality as an incarceration that doesn't have to exist. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now the new one, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is to destroy all the impelled and implanted points of view. So every time someone says, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils, it's an impelled and implanted point of view. It's not their point of view. They are trying to sell you the lie that they've been sold. It's not a real point of view. It's not their reality. It's the reality that they're causally incarcerated into. So we're going to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on all the impelled and implanted points of view that allow the system to create the lies that bring us the lies that we regurgitate over and over and we call truths in the system of lies called the democracy of America. So here it goes. When I say 6, just send all the kill energy to destroy all those impelled and implanted points of view that don't belong to you, don't belong to your neighbors, even though they're telling you, you got to vote for the lesser two evils. It's an impelled and implanted point of view. So every time they do it, you can do silently in your mind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to destroy that impelled implanted point of view. So here it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. Okay. Oh my God. I had to mute everyone just for that. I'm going to unmute the last caller who didn't raise their hand, just in case they do want to raise their hand or they do want to add something into this intelligent conversation that is not allowed on the mainstream media. If someone in 929 wants to chime in, anything they can say, they don't have to say their name if they don't want. They can just say what they want to say. I won't give out your name. Okay, they don't want to talk. That's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna unmute everybody, and we're just gonna together. Okay, everyone's unmuted, and together, I want everyone to say yes to this makeup right now. So all the impelled and implanted points of view that you are using to create the causal incarceration that you call democracy in America, and the stupidity you are using to choose the stupidity you are choosing, which is called American democracy. Would you be willing to destroy an uncreated all times Buddha's brain? And everyone says yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine. Okay, thank you guys so much. This call is so needed for me and everyone else. We'll see you guys next time. We're going to end with the song that I hope. I'm going to mute. I'm getting an echo here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that reminded me of the protest called Occupy Wall Street, because they didn't use the loudspeakers. One person would say, I now declare, and the whole room would say, I now declare that the two-party system, the whole, this is how they call it, the human mouthpiece or the human megaphone or something like that. So it kind of reminded me of that. That was kind of cool. Anyway, I wasn't able to go to those protests because I've been in hibernating in Japan, and I'm coming out of my hibernation. I'm planning to either come back to the U.S. of A. or go to a more democratic country where I get signed with a record label or book deal that is willing to actually fund sanity instead of the insanity that is mostly funded in this reality, because I do believe there's another world is possible. So I'm going to create that world with all of you guys, and we're going to play the song for all the liars in the mainstream media. It's called Austerity Psychosis, and we're going to end the call. Thank you guys so much. I love you all.
The rich money men are pulling the strings to make Congress sing, so the banksters can cling to their power. Our so-called debt, a real Ponzi scheme, so easily redeemed. Get rid of the banks that created. Austerity psychosis is war on the floor. A bankster's form of justice. We won't take it anymore.
Blog Talk Radio.
Do you see the silver lining on the black cloud overhead? The moon still smiles on the other side of the sky. Though there are many cold days ahead, my love, you too can smile. If you can feel the
Ladies and germs and kids older than me. Hi, this is Daniel J. Harris of the Super Gato Show, getting you ready for Tim Janakos, who is ready to redefine, realign that body is a shrine, remove the malignant and the benign, tweak that spine with the shine from the divine, maybe remove that jug of wine before it hits the bloodline, pick you up before you decline, has you ready going for that goal line. But the bottom line is not about the dollar sign, no longer being a punchline. It's not getting ready for the finish line, but being breezy on cloud nine. So somewhere under, over, or above the international dateline, here's Tim Janakos coming at you live.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to Major Tim to Ground Control. I am Major Tim, otherwise known as Tim Janakos, your trickster and host. This is the only, that I know of, comedy healing show on the World Wide Web, going across the internet to all planets and all galaxies and everywhere else it might go to. And we put the comedy in the healing because the comedy is so needed right now. If you're going to join the circus, which is the two-party system that's going right now, you got to become a clown. So that's what I've become, the clown in the circus. And if you haven't gone on my YouTube videos in a while and you haven't watched my YouTube videos, I put the link there because you're going to want to watch this video. I have to tell you guys, I hope I don't have to tell you guys, it's a joke. But some people actually don't understand when I'm joking and when I'm actually telling the truth, because actually between a joke and a truth lately, I don't know which is the difference either. So it's kind of hard to tell. But I'm going to kind of just play my last video. If you haven't watched any of my crazy videos I put on my YouTube video, this is the healing we all need right now, some comedy. So this is why I'm voting for Donald Trump. I'm not voting for Donald Trump if you guys didn't get the joke. But here goes, and I'll be right back with you to do some healing because we got a lot of callers. It's going to be a great day. Yeah, all my friends out there in the South and all around the world. I don't know what all these people have been talking about. This guy, Donald J. Trump's going to be a bad president. All this scare tactics and shit they've been using. I just don't buy any of it. I'll tell you the truth. If we vote for Trump, we're going to be able to go back to the good old days. And I don't know about you, but I think the good old days is much better than the good old days we have now, what bad old days we have now. I mean, shit, Hillary was the worst. The worst. What was she? Oh yeah, Secretary of State. And this Obama guy, yeah, socialist. He was the worst president we done never had in this country. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm voting for Donald Trump. I mean, I've been in the Republican Party for too many years to know I can't pass up this opportunity no way, no how. Because we've been voting all these years for these Republicans, and they all been screwing us up the ass, even though we vote for them. I don't understand it. I mean, this guy, what was he, from Texas or something? Or at least he said, I'm a cowboy, I thought that was the reason I should vote for him. But he was more interested in his friends with the turbans and shit, like Bandar Bush and shit, getting out after 9/11, so nobody questions him and stuff. I don't understand why we Republicans keep voting for these people that vote against us, but now we got the one chance, finally. I mean, look at that guy. He played cowboys and shit in the movies. What was his name? We voted for him back in the 80s. You must remember. I remember. I know he did some good movies. What was his name? Oh yeah, Ronald Reagan. Shit. I voted for that guy. He doesn't do shit for us cowboys. He's just pushing them GE nuclear power plants in all the countries, and I thought he was going to be riding his horse to town and shit and giving away free vegetables and shit. But finally, we got a president that really is going to do what we really want him to do this time. He's going to be working for the people this time. He's not going to be working for GE. He's not going to be working for Bandar Bush. He's not going to be working for oil contractors in the Middle East or Halliburton or anything like that. No, man, this guy is working for you and for me in the South and in Tennessee and around this beautiful country from sea to shiny sea. Finally, we're going to go back to the good old days, because the other day I was at this Denny's and there was a really hot waitress there, man. Man, her butt just wouldn't stop quitting, you know what I'm talking about? And I just want to go over there and pinch it. And in the good old days, I just go over there and pinch it. Shit, I paid the tip and everything, what, 50 cents or something? I paid the tip. That's my right to pinch your ass, right? God, all these women's livers and all these like Black Lives Matter shit. We can even go back further, man. Back in the really good old days, man. I didn't like my neighbor. I just string him up from a fucking tree, man. I let him fucking rot like a dropped fruit. What that song? That song, Strange Fruit or something like that? Yeah. We can just do that, We don't have no guy like black guys running for president, no woman of the former president's wife and shit running for president. No, the good old days, We can just do whatever the fuck we want. Pinch them Denny's waitresses' butts, or we can string up our friends. We can beat them with the club. No one's gonna Black Lives Matter shit and like that stuff. No, we're going back to the good old days when America was great. Now, as I see it, we can even go back further if we want. Shit. Who wants to fucking hoe the damn field and fucking plant the vegetables and harvest them and all that shit when you can just sit around with your fucking shotgun and you can just fucking be the king of the plantation and just tell all them black people to do the work for you? Shit. I want to go back to them days, Shit. Any guy says, hey, I don't want to work for you for free and shit. I just fucking like, boom, blow them heads off and shit. Nobody gonna tell me what to do. I'm the farmer. I'm the owner of the plantation. Shit. I pay my taxes. Or maybe we can even go back further, like the 1600s. That was the good old days. That was when America was great. Shit. If you have the lady down the street, she wants to help give birth to some guy's wife and shit, because she's like has all these herbs and all these crystals and shit, and doesn't want her to pay respect to the deities at the clinic, and she wants a midwife to we just get that lady midwife shit. We just fucking like tie her up on a fucking thing and burn her to death, I don't know about you, but I want to go back to them barbecuing good old days. So if you're like me and you want a good old America like we used to have, where we can just fucking ride on the prairies and just shoot Indians and shit, or, we can just freaking fuck our cousins and nieces and shit, or fuck our cows and shit, Damn, them are the good old days. if you believe like I believe, those are the days we can really have. And finally, Republicans have a real guy they can vote for, not one who's going to be pretending like he's on our side, and he's not really on our side. This is the guy. He's really on our side. Don't mind all this shit about, of course he had many companies, and they all went out of business, and his dad gave him all the money and all that shit. Hey, I don't care about any of that shit. As long as I can pinch them Danny's girls' butts, or I can tie up my neighbors and beat them with the club if I don't like them because they're black, or if I can burn witches and shit. Fuck. I don't know about you, but I want to go back to the good old days. I want America to be great again. Shit. I say we go back to like the 45s and shit. 45s were great. What are you talking about? Shit. Back in the 45s, we done won the war and everything already, and the Japanese guys were like fucking trying to negotiate a peace settlement. We just like, fuck that shit, man. We're going to blow up 2 of your cities for the fun of it because we could, shit. You know? Hell, all this fucking war crimes tribunal bullshit. Can't use fucking poisonous chemicals. Can't use nuclear biological warfare. Shit, we done did all that shit, man. Come on. Them were the good old days. We can do whatever the fuck we want. We can put some polio in some blankets and give it to the kids of the Indian tribe and make them all die. Shit, them were the good old days. That's what I'm voting for. So I don't know about you, but I'm voting for the guy who stands for me and you and all the people who want the good old days in America. And that's only one guy. It's no wife of some other guy running, and no doctor who's gone to be a Green Party nominated. No Bernie Cerner, this commie pinko guy thinking he's really a Democrat. He was like infiltrating the system of the two-party system that's always been running this country, and he's trying to say I'm a Democrat. Yeah, he's a communist pinko. Tell you what. So don't waste your vote on no girl. Don't waste your vote on the other girl who's talking about all this social justice and all this stuff. Hey, I say vote for, what's his name? Elmer J. Fudd. Oh, no. His name is Donald J. Trump. That's who I'm voting for. So I know if you look at all the different ways you can count it out and all the different ways you can calculate it, you don't need to be like a brain surgeon or some mathematician or something to figure it out. Every issue that I'm talking about, he's on the side of justice for you and me, the people who want to live free, do what they want, pitch whatever butts they want, tie up any girls they want, rape your sister, don't matter. On the farm, you can rape your sister, shit. Who's going to say something? What? Bubba next door is going to say something when he's done had baby with his cousin? Shit. No way, Jose. Okay. I know you guys by now understand what I'm talking about, and you're going to do the right thing. You're not going to be stupid. You're not going to vote against the two-party system and vote for Jill Stein just because she does everything, says everything like Bernie done said it, even though she's been saying it since 2012. Or if you're not going to vote for like this lady who stole the thing from the Bernie. Of course she stole it from the Bernie. What do you think, some socialist is going to be running for president of the United States of America? You fucking crazy. Even the fucking guy who stole the Bush cabal elections twice, he's going to help that girl, of course. Because it don't really matter. I mean, in the end, a vote for Hillary is a vote for Trump, and a vote for Trump is a vote for Hillary. But even knowing that, I still vote for Trump because, Trump is still, at least in theory and in principle, standing for what I stand for. And you know what I stand for because I just done told you what I stand for. Okay. So make the right decision. Don't be stupid. We're going back to the good old days. Yeah, all my friends out there in the South. Sorry, I couldn't work the switchboard anymore. I was laughing. Sorry. Okay, if any of you guys didn't know I was being comical in that one, that was me. You got to watch the video. The good old days. We're going back to the good old days. Oh, my God. Everything that brought up or let down for all of you guys, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all? Whew. Fighting around, getting bad all night, pot and pox, shorts, boys and beyond. Wait, I'm joining the circus. I'm becoming a circus clown because this malady called the two-party duopoly, which is just a two-headed freaking donkey and a and an elephant. It's like this mythological creature, two-headed creature from the Black Lagoon or something, called the two-party system in America. It's getting so fucking wacky. I don't know what side is this. It's like a coin in the wishing well. Like you throw a coin in the wishing well like 1,000 years ago, and you pull it out. And it's like so full of moss, you can't tell which side's heads or what side's tail. But you realize the fucking wishing well didn't give you any of your wishes by throwing the coins in the wishing well. So I'm not going to throw my vote to any of those two-party duopoly crazy fucking nutcases. Anyway, enough of that. Last call was a political call. We're going to go to healing now. The politics is all over. I'm going to go to my friend who understands what my joke is all about. He's in California, where I'm from. So, Mr. California.
Hey,
how's it
Tim,
going? I hope you enjoyed the joke I just made there.
Yeah, oh yeah, America was great in 1600, that's for sure. United States of America.
Okay, I want to go back to the good old days.
Yeah, I appreciate the humor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. So what's one thing you want to work on today? Whew.
Well, we've worked on finances before. I mean, I don't go a day hungry or anything like that, but I don't accept any money for healing, and you've worked on me for that before. I'm sure there's a way.
Yeah, we need to work on that.
I'm sure there's a way.
We need to work on that more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to have a steady income so I can get out of the debt.
Okay.
I feel like one of the American slaves, with the debt hanging on me.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do it for everyone on the call. This is going to be a group healing. I'm glad you brought this up because this is where we need to clear on everybody. So I'm stealing this from Dane here from Access Consciousness, just in case you're wondering where I steal a lot of stuff. I steal a lot of it from Access Consciousness. I steal a lot from all the healing people I've had come on the show. So since your line is kind of loud, it's not loud now. That's good. Okay, you put yourself on mute maybe. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on everyone on the call. I'm going to mute you just because we don't need everybody. We don't need you saying anything. So I want everybody to imagine, close your eyes if you're not driving a car, and imagine that you have $100 in your hands, and we're all sitting around a bonfire. And we're all just drinking beers, or we're drinking Mai Tais, or we're drinking decaffeinated herbal tea. I don't know, whatever you drink. We're drinking water. I don't know anything you want to imagine. We're all in our hippie outfits if you want to be in hippie outfits, or we can be in kimonos. I don't care. Whatever you want to be drinking, whatever you want to be smoking. We're just all sitting around the fire. We're all talking about money because it's just a piece of paper. So you have a $100 bill in your pocket. And you pull it out, and it's a crisp $100 bill. You folded it up a couple times. You unfold it. And I want everyone just to hold that $100 bill in their hand. You know that $100 bill has a secret ingredient. It's hemp. And hemp was what helped make all the papers. It's marijuana, otherwise known as hemp. It's sister. There's many different strains of hemp. Some of it's medicinal. Some of it's not medicinal because they cultivated it so it would be more towards the fibers being strong to make jeans. Because if you go back in the Midwest, or if you go back in California, there's gold in them dar hills in California. If you go up into the gold mines and you pull out underneath 150-year-old Levi's, the first Levi's, they were made 100% hemp fibers. You pull them out underneath the mine and you wash them, you can wear them because they're going to be just as good as they were the day they got buried in the mine. If you find some old jeans from let's go to the 1960s, and you did anything with them, they're going to be falling apart now. Because why? Because they were made with cotton. The original Levi's were made with hemp. The reason why you can put the money in your pocket and you can wash it in the washing machine, and why it comes out you can still buy stuff with it, is because there's a certain amount of hemp fiber in there along with the tree paper pulp. So they know that's the strongest fiber because that's what they used to make tree pulp paper with before Mr. William Randolph Hearst, with his 25 chains of newspapers, decided to lie about all this marijuana. They're actually doing it now. They're doing the same thing in Japan. They're starting to. This guy just went and killed all these people. They said he was suffering from marijuana delusional something. And then next to that article in the Japanese paper was another guy who just died of cancer, who was a protester against the use of marijuana for his leukemia or whatever he had. And he was protesting, and he was on trial to go to prison for using medical marijuana in Japan. So they put it on the same page as this guy who stabs everyone. And they said this guy was suffering from delusional marijuana use. That's why he stabbed all these people. This is exactly what happened in the push to ban marijuana in the United States, and to ban hemp oil, to ban hemp fibers in jeans, and to ban the whole industry. This is what they did. So I'm going off on a tangent because we're going to bring up all this toxic shit that's in this money that we don't want to play with anymore, because we know the history of money. We know all the shit they did with it. All these people that were rich that fucked with the system, what they did. So this is what this $100 bill represents to all these people that don't want to have it. Okay, so we're just going to take this bill, and I know this might be difficult for some of you, and we're just sitting around the campfire. We're going to realize this is just paper. So what you're going to do is you're going to just drop it into the fire and watch it burn. So we're all watching this $100 bill burn. Okay, and just get the energy of what that is for you. Watching, that's a $100 bill. You worked hard for it. You whatever you had to do for that $100 bill. I had to sing one wedding, and I didn't really have to sing much. I just sang like a couple of songs. Anyway, I sing 5 songs with a little teeny short, and it's about 20-minute long wedding. And then I've done up to 7 in a day. But those are my lucky days. Lately, this next month I only have a few weddings, so I'm going to be like trying to sell my soul to the well, I don't know what maybe I'm going to start prostitution. I'm going to go out on the street corner with my high heels, whatever. Anyway, whatever you have to do for your money, that's my best job, my singing at the weddings. But that's only because I was willing to receive that money, because I actually had to be in a contest. I won a singing contest in Japan, and that's how I got the wedding gig. So before that, I was working for the system, and I was sitting at a desk in a junior high school being a tape recorder. I used to go to classes, and they would say, okay, Tim, repeat after Tim. He's the tape recorder. And I had to work for the government for 5 years in Japan before I can actually graduate into something I actually like doing, like singing. Okay, so whatever you did for that $100, whether it was working like 20 hours, 50 hours, whatever, you just burn it up because it's just paper. Okay. Now I want everyone, whatever that came up for you, just destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, POD and POC, shorts, boys, beyond. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to your savings account. I don't know how much you have in your savings account, or if you have no savings account like me. I just closed my savings account in California because they started charging me fees for my checking accounts. I said, fuck them. I took my $5 and I sent it. I actually transferred all the money I had in my checking account to my new Honolulu account for my wife for summer school and my daughter. I spent about $7,000 or $8,000 for my wife and daughter I probably spent more than that. We haven't looked at all the receipts yet, but we're gonna write it off on the business because this is gonna be our business move. We're moving to America. This is our first leg of the international business tour. Okay, so take all your money in your savings account. I don't know how much you have or how much you don't have, or if you have a negative savings, I don't know. Just take it all. Just throw it all in that freaking bonfire. Just watch it burn. Just we're at Burning Man right now. Just fuck it all. It's just paper. Maybe it's just bank statements. Just throw the bank statements in there. Take the lockbox with all the gold. Just fucking throw it in there. Okay, just watch it burn. And everything that brings up for all you guys, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all? I'm saying yes for you, right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, POD and POC, shorts, boys, and beyond. People are saying, Jill Stein and Bernie Sanders were saying we can write off all the student loan of all the country, which is something like $1.3 billion. Now, how much? What did Obama do? Obama gave like $3-point-something billion to just disregard all the debt that the Wall Street banksters just gambled away. It's just paper. It's just numbers on its crunch machine. We just said, oh, yeah, what the heck. We spent more than that. I mean, Bush spent more than that on like 5 or 6 wars that we didn't need to have, and only killed, a few billion people, millions of people in different countries, and women and children. It's just paper. Just throw it all on the fire, burn it up. So just take that $1.3 billion, is it trillion? I forget, to pay for all the. It doesn't matter. It's just numbers on it. It's just zeros. Zeros are just nothing. Throw it all in there. Take the computers. Do like they did with 9/11. They hit 2 planes into 2 buildings, Building 1, Tower 1, and Tower 2, and somehow mysteriously Tower 7, which was down the street, which only had a little bit of fire from the debris that fell over on its roof, which happened to have Enron. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Enron. You know, people have delusional problems in America. They can't remember yesterday from today. But at the time, Enron was the largest political scandal in all of the history of the United States because every party in the system, which is the duopoly of the Democrat Republican Party, every senator, every congressman was involved in the scam of the millennium called Enron. So what did they do? Well, the FCC, it just happened to be in with the CIA and the FBI and Giuliani's special Office of Emergency Management. It was all in this one building called Building 7. And what would you know? The same guy who owned Building 1 and had a lease, actually a 100-year lease on Building 1, Building 1 and Building 2, which are the 2 towers that so-called planes hit, just happened to also own Building 7 too. And he said, you know, we've had a lot of loss of life. Why don't we just pull it? And if you guys know what demolition means, and people who own buildings know what demolition means, pull it means to drop the building, which is what they did. It was free fall motion. Didn't have any plane hit it. Didn't have all this lies that the 911 commission said about having fires in the elevator by jet fuels. It had no jet fuels. It had all this lies that they used to bring down Tower 1 and 2. It had none of that. It fell free fall just like those 2 towers fell because we've had planes crash into buildings all the time. They don't fall at free fall. That just doesn't happen. Steel structure buildings don't burn. All the lies they used to say 1 and 2 tower fell, they said the same thing. They couldn't say it, so they just disregarded it. Oh, just pretend like Tower 7 never existed. It just happened to have the FBI, the CIA, all of Enron cases, every computer file and paperwork for the case, which now we can no longer bring to trial because we have no evidence. It's all been burned. And we also had Mayor Giuliani's FEMA Office of Emergency Management Center, because he was in the control towers helping bring down 1 and 2, and then he said, okay, it's all over. Let's go on vacation. Okay, I'm not saying Giuliani did it. I'm just saying someone in the either FBI, CIA that was in the control towers of the building number 7 who brought down the 2 buildings first, and then decided, let's all evacuate the building because we're going to bring this one down too, and then it fell at free fall. I don't know. It sounds like a quinky dink to me. But let's just throw all these buildings, all these people that died, all this money, just throw it in the fire. Let's all burn it up because it's all just energy. Everything that brings up for all of you guys, war, terrorism, ISIS, Osama bin Laden. Do you remember that guy? No, he died a long time ago. I don't even remember his name. Osama bin Laden, yeah. He supposedly was in a cave and he was somehow orchestrating these planes crashing into buildings. He must have had a remote control or something, because no other pilot in history could have done the maneuvers they did. And then this plane that did this magical maneuver that no jet pilot could ever do in the military, to fly into the Pentagon and knock a hole in the wall without even knocking out the rest of the wall, just knock a perfect center hole in the wall. Amazing plane. And these guys that supposedly flew the plane, they failed flying school. They couldn't even freaking do simulators. But anyway, magical beings, you know, this whole system, it's all Hollywood. The reason it's called Hollywood is because it's controlled by the Hollywood. Hollywood is the magical wand of the Druids. So if you wonder why I do magic on the show, it's because I used to be a Druid. So a Druid uses a Hollywood wand. They mesmerize you into believing something that didn't happen actually happened, so you can believe whatever they tell you to believe. So that's magic for them. So if you want to know how to do magic, go to Hollywood. That's why they use Hollywood. It's their magic wand. If you go to I went to the castle called in Japan, Osaka. We went, my daughter and my wife, for my wife's birthday a year ago. I just posted it on Facebook, my year ago picture. We went to Harry Potter's castle in Osaka, Japan, which is in the Universal Studios, Japan. I've never been to Universal Studios in California. I'm going to go there next because I like the Druids. we were cool back in our life. Actually, we used to use magic for real good things, but now they're like using it for knocking down 3 buildings with 2 planes. It's pretty good magic if you believe in Hollywood. Anyway, so everything that brought up for all of you guys, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pod and puck, shorts, boys and beyond. Okay, I'm going to go back to the same person only because this is all about money. Okay. So everywhere, Charles, you're not willing to inculcate yourself into the reality of money that other people have used, which is all a fantasy and an insanity. And you think the money that you're going to get for the healing that you do to save this planet and heal the people on this planet is somehow inculcated. And I'm going to tell you what an inculcation is if you don't know what an inculcation is. A causal inculcation is where you get you, the true being you be from time without beginning, which is absolutely perfect, which has never done anything wrong, which can't do anything wrong because you're a light being, you're a conscious, living fuel of the fire of life, and you've always been that way. You can't do anything wrong. But all the lies that you've taken on in this reality, which is the money lies, the war lies, the political system lies, you have to vote for the lesser of 2 evils or the evil of 2 lessers because it's the system and you can't buck the system because you got to pay taxes. The only thing that's always is taxes and death, and every day you're dying because that's what the system teaches you. You can't live, you have to die. Just pay your taxes and pay the man because he needs you. So everywhere you've inculcated your true being, which you took all that lie, which is the being that they told you since you were a little kid, all the things they told you were evil, you were cursed, you were because some girl ate some apple and your parents had sex and you weren't born of immaculate conception and all that bullshit that they've tried to feed you since fucking time without beginning. And all the lies of the political system about what they did with money, what they didn't do with money, what they should have done with money, what they couldn't have done with money because money is evil and it's the root of all evil. And all that stuff is all the inculcation. It's all the reality that doesn't exist. It's all virtual vibrational reality. They took you, the true being who is you, and they put it in a blender and they mixed it up so you can't tell who you is and who they is and who it is and who he is or anything. All you can tell is you're somehow inculcated in all that shit because no matter what you do, you're wrong. So everything that brings up for you, where you thought you were wrong if you had money, you thought you were wrong if you charged people, you thought you were wrong because you weren't born of immaculate conception, you thought you were wrong because you were a man, you thought you were wrong because you were living in California and all the water's gone and you were using water. And everything you thought you were wrong for because they've inculcated you into the reality that doesn't exist, which is a lie, which is a Hollywood fucking creation, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate at all times of Buddha Zillion?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pot and pock, shorts, boys and beyond. And now would you be willing to claim, own, and acknowledge that you've never done anything wrong and you can never do anything wrong and you now can have money because you know what to do with it?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pot and pock, shorts, boys and beyond. And everything you're still holding on to about what I'm saying, would you be willing to let it all go? Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pot and pock, shorts, boys and beyond. Would you be able to forgive yourself for being a man?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pot and pock, shorts, boys and beyond. Would you be willing to forgive yourself for all the people you voted for in any office that screwed you over and screwed everyone else over?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pot and pock, shorts, boys and beyond. Would you be willing to forgive yourself for all the cookies you stole from the cookie jar when your mom wasn't looking?
Yes.
Right and wrong. And all the lies you told about you were a sinner, all the shit because you just wanted a fucking cookie. Because you deserved more cookies than your mom was willing to give you because your mom wasn't willing to realize you're the fucking infinite being that you truly be, that you're here to fucking change the world. And she didn't realize that maybe 3 cookies would have contributed more than 1 cookie. And everywhere she wasn't willing to give you what you knew you deserved, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pot and pock, shorts, boys and beyond. And everywhere you've made your parents right for what they weren't willing to give you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pot and pock, shorts, boys and beyond. And would you be willing to forgive them for not giving you everything you deserved because they only thought you were what they were inculcated in which was the shitty reality that you were born into, and they thought you couldn't be any more better than that. You couldn't be any greater than that. So they thought if they gave you more than one cookie, you were going to somehow be this fat, lying son of a shit bullshit like Donald Trump. And they didn't want you to be like that. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and puck shorts with man. Okay, we have so much more to do with this, Charles, but we're going to do it on the next call. Okay?
Okay. All right. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Just be willing to receive the money, because it's not the money that you think it is. It's the money that you can be using to change the world and change people's reality. Okay? I was able to send my wife and daughter to Hawaii for 2 months to stay in a condo on the beach when I wanted them to stay in a house that was next to the school so they can walk to school. No, my wife wanted to stay with a pool, and she wanted the ocean view and all this stuff. And I thought I didn't have enough money because I was believing the reality that I couldn't just create any money I wanted to create. And she proved me wrong, which I'm glad she proved me wrong, because she was willing to accept the fact that I am an infinite being. I am the fucking only breadwinner in my 3-person family. And I am somehow working 6 jobs and I'm paying for everything because I'm unstoppable, and she knows that. So anyway, I appreciate her, and I appreciate my daughter for going to Hawaii. My daughter's English is getting a little better, which is cool. So anyway, so just be in appreciation of everything you can pay for. Pay the phone bill even if you don't want to pay the phone bill. Pay the freaking electricity bill even if you think the electricity company's full of shit and the electricity company should be charging you a lot. Just pay with gratitude, because it's just fucking money, fucking energy. And if you're open to the energy will fucking come. The energy's fucking flowing in from every direction. Now, I have 3 years ago when I started this healing program, I only had one source of income, which was my 27 classes a week job that didn't fucking make enough money. I fucking taught 27-hour classes of these kids that were driving me fucking batshit crazy. And I wasn't making enough to feed my family, but I was overworking myself, working 6 days a week. I was feeling like shit. I was getting sick. All the back problems I had, all the fucking issues I had was all because I was so damn fucking sick of doing what I didn't want to do. Now I'm working 6 jobs, but I'm doing ones that I actually like doing. I'm doing healing. I'm doing the radio show. I'm doing YouTube videos. I'm doing my world tour, which is just one leg of it. It's going to start soon to all of. So just be appreciation of everything you can receive money for that you love doing, and just go out and do what you love, and be willing to receive the money that people are willing to pay you, because they are willing to pay you more than you're willing to receive. So until you're willing to receive, they're going to just keep not giving you the money they want to pay you, because they want to pay you. Because you're an incredible fucking person. They know if they give the money to you, Charles, they're not going to have to give it to Enron. They're not going to have to give it to fucking Halliburton. They're not going to have to give it to fucking all these fucking companies. What is the one, anyway, Monsanto. They're not going to have to, if they give it to fucking you, Charles, they're not going to have to give it to all those fuckheads. And they want to do that. So everyone wants to give them money. They want to throw, it's like Charles, the Charles fucking fund can be bigger than the Hillary fund. What is it, the Clinton Foundation? Anyway, yours can actually be a real foundation. Theirs is a bullshit foundation, which is just a shill for the Hillary. Anyway, I've had enough of that. Okay, we're going to go on. Thank you, Charles.
Okay. Thanks, Tim.
Bye-bye. Okay, I probably just offended everyone on the call, and they probably hung up. No, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's still 7 people that actually know what I'm talking about is not full of shit. So this is everything I did for Charles is for all of you guys, because all of you guys are calling into my free show because you're not willing to. Well, some of you are. I'm not going to say who's my clients and who are not my clients, but you guys are not willing to go on my website and actually pay my absolutely low fees, which I keep raising every 6 months, and I'm probably going to raise really soon, which is still too low, because all the other healers I've had come on the show, they tell me you got to raise your fees. You got to raise your fees. You're still charging too little. But you know what? I'm raising them. I'm slowly raising them. I'm just waiting for you guys to catch up with me. So I'm willing to be the 51% for your 49% of the lies that you're still buying into, that you don't have the money to pay me for healing sessions, so you're calling in to do free healing sessions. Okay, so I'm using guilt. It's a distractor implant. It's not real. So anywhere you felt guilty for calling in for free, no. I'm here to help you guys because I love you guys. So take all those distractor implants of guilt, blame, shame, regret, guilt, destroy them, non-create them all. Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pot and puck shorts. Man, I love you. I'm going to go to 719. Who's in the 719 area code, and where are you calling from?
It's Don. Pueblo,
Don,
Colorado.
Cool. So what do you appreciate about Pueblo, Colorado?
Well, Colorado, the heat. I love the heat in the summer.
Cool. And it's dry heat?
Yes, dry heat.
Cool. I want to go there. Pueblo, Colorado. I drove from California to my witch friend who I wrote the song Her Story back in the 90s. She was living in New Mexico. I had to drive through Flagstaff, Arizona, through to New Mexico. It was the first time I've ever been in the desert. I mean, I'd been in California deserts, mostly living on the beach most of my life, so I wasn't really in the... I mean, they used to be deserts, but they put oasis here. They took all the Colorado River and drained it out and made swimming pools and palm trees. But anyway, it used to be a desert. So you live in the actual, you know, the desert. So everything you're not willing to be, know, perceive, and receive about you as the heat that could detoxify all the bullshit lies of sickness that you've been inculcated into in this reality that you thought was you because you thought you were sick. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all that and just burn it up with the Pueblo, Colorado heat that you know you can be?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and pop shorts, boys and beyond. My name is Dawn. Is there something else we need to do? Yeah. Okay, I already know what you're thinking, so I'm just going to just go on to your inflammation. Okay, so this inflammation, is this having to do with, okay, so everywhere you're not willing to be the hothead of Pueblo, Colorado, you can truly be through all eternity, who would instantly be able to detoxify anyone with the incredible amount of dry heat you can be and just destroy and uncreate any false illusion of reality, of sickness, and of all the other lies that everyone is doing around us. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate anything that wouldn't allow that to fully manifest and actualize in your body and mind and spirit and energy system?
Yes.
Okay. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and pop shorts with me. So I got inflammation in your body, and that was what I was feeling the inflammation was. It's you, your true being, not wanting to fully come out, and your body's trying to show you that, hey, this heat that I'm showing you with the inflammation is what you could be. You can be the inflammation that inflames all the people into revolution, and not bloody death revolution. I'm talking about revolution of the mind, heart, and spirit that allows us not to no longer go into the voting booth and think we're voting for something that goes against everything we believe in. And we can actually vote for something we believe in and not have to be ruled by the distractor implants of fear and doubt. Okay, so everything that wouldn't allow you to fully let go of, or allow you to listen to your body and be in communion with your body, that's trying to show you through the sickness it's trying to bring you, to show you what you can truly be without the sickness, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate everything that wouldn't allow that times a bazillion?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and puck shorts, boys and beyond. Is there something else? No. Should I? Okay. I'm going to let you be the yes person for this, for you and everyone else on the call. And then I might come back to you if I could, but I'm going to go to other callers. But first, I'm just going to let you be the yes person. I'm going to do a new clearing. New access. Here it is. Which one should we do that's going to help everybody? This one. Okay, all the causal incongruities, causal inculcations, causal incarcerations, causal realities that keep you causally incarcerated into your family tree, and all the dead dudes and dead chicks that you could truly be letting go of, and everything they represent to you and are true as you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate at all times of Buddha-zillion?
Yes. Right
and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and puck shorts, boys and men. The reason that clearing came up is, in Japan right now, we're moving into the O-Bone season. O is honorific, Bone is a festival. Some people say Bon festival because they don't know B-O-N is bone in Japanese. They actually worship dead bones, but they don't. That's not why they call it Bone festival. But in Japan, they worship their dead relatives, and that's why their dead relatives stay around so long and haunt everybody, and that's why they can't let go of the past and why they can't change anything, and that's why they're still living in the frickin' 1600s. Anyway, so everywhere you are worshiping your dead relatives by taking on their karma and by causally incarcerating you in their reality by taking on their genes and by all the biomimetic and biomimetric mimicry you're doing to to continue the diseases they wouldn't be willing to let go of, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate them all now?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot and puck, shorts with you. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't do more on you, Don. I'm going to try to get you on the next call, okay?
Okay. Thank you. Blessings.
Thank you. Blessings. Okay. I'm only going to go to one more caller because I think those clearings I did, if you go back and listen to them, they're going to clear so much more than you're willing to let go yet because you're still resisting, a lot of you guys, what I'm saying. And all of this has to do with everything you're holding on to and everything the world is holding on to. And if we would be willing to let it go all today on the call or in the future when you go listen to the replay, you'll actually be willing to let go of this whole system that you think is a must and can't be changed, and this is the only way it is. We've always had to do this, and we're going to always have to do it. We have no choice. We have to vote this way or that way. We have to do this or that. We have to do this. Whatever you think you're causally incarcerated into in this reality that doesn't allow you to be free and go on, live on an island country like I live on, in exile if you want to live in exile. I'm pretty much done with it. I destroy and uncreate it all for you, but I'm going to try to take one more caller. And no one else has raised their hand of the other 7 people, but I'm going to raise their hand for them possibly if they're willing to speak. So I'm going to ask the person in the 575. If you do want to be helped, say your name. If you don't want to be helped, don't say your name.
April?
April. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to be the last caller, unfortunately, but this is going to help everyone. So if you guys stay on the line, you're going to get healing with April because April's going to bring up all the shit. So April, what would you, if you had $1 billion, what would you do with it right now today?
I would pay off my debt and make a school, build a school to help people with their grumpy dogs and change them and change the breeding practices here in the United States so people don't just throw their dogs away.
Okay, so everywhere you've causally incarcerated yourself in the karma of debt, and everywhere you've causally inculcated yourself into not receiving the money you could be receiving to build the school right now, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all that times a Buddha-zillion?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot and puck, shorts, boys and beyond. Okay. My name is April. Is there something else? No. You're going to have to go back and listen to that one again because I can't remember what I just said. Most of these things just like I'm talking in tongues. Okay. So, yeah, go back and listen to that. I'm going to take one more caller just because it's going to bring up more for you and everyone else. So thank you, April, for bringing that up for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go to, I don't know if the person wants to be helped or wants to be speaking, but I'm just going to raise one more hand and possibly one more hand. In the 210 area code, if you want to be helped, say your name. If you don't say anything. Okay, 210 is not saying. How about the 417?
Yes. Hi, Tim.
Hi.
Hi, this is Tony. I haven't called in a while.
Yeah, you haven't. That's why I picked you. Okay, so Tony, everything I said that you didn't like me saying or anything that you resisted or reacted to or aligned and agree with about what I said on this call, because it's been a crazy call. I don't know if you listened all the way through, but we've said a lot of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Everything that means to you and everywhere you didn't like it or liked it or wanted to scream and throw your TV out the window or you wanted to smash a picture or you wanted to burn someone's house down or anything else that it brought up for you, would you be willing to send it all back to wherever you got it because it doesn't belong to you?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot and puck, shorts, with you. So everything I said on the show, it doesn't belong to me either. It's just a story. This whole reality is just a story. It's a bunch of stories. It's like overlapping stories, inculcated stories. It's just all cellular memory. It's all cosmic memory. It's all Akashic Records memory. It's all just freaking, we're all playing out this great drama we think is real. It's just a big fucking joke. And if we're willing to stand up and step out of it or step through it and kick a hole in it, there's a book by Joseph Chilton Pierce. One of them is called The Magical Child, which I haven't yet read, which I'm going to read next. The other one, which is just as good of a bestseller, is called A Crack in the Cosmic Egg. And what you're doing, if you're willing to be you, the true being you truly be, which is infinite, if you're willing to even choose a little bit of that today, you're going to crack the cosmic egg. And the cosmic egg is the reality that we think is the only thing is possible. And even if you crack it a little bit and you're able to just break through a little bit and open up a little more avenue into a new reality that never was possible, like if Bernie Sanders ran in 2001, like Ralph Nader, and he said pretty much all the same things Ralph Nader said. If you go back in 2001, Ralph Nader said everything Bernie Sanders said. But why didn't Ralph Nader get the votes? Because it was 2001, because the people were fucking still sleepwalking. They needed fucking George Bush to come in, steal 2 elections. They needed his family and his friends to crash planes into buildings. They needed all the lies that brought into creation and all the lies about war on terrorism, which they've been rehashing for 100,000 years. They published a book before they put George Bush into power. It was called The Grand Chessboard. It laid out the plan to take over Syria. It laid out the plan to take over Iran. It laid over the plan to take over Iraq, North Korea, and 3 or 4 other nations, which now we're totally destroying, which is part of the plan. It's all been laid out way before 9/11. 9/11 was just what they said in the book. They said we need a new September. We need a new Pearl Harbor. And right as soon as they enacted the drama, which was the lie that some guy in a cave in Afghanistan somehow orchestrated some fucking thing that could never have happened in this reality, because they only orchestrated it, and they were able to push through their grand chessboard, which they published, and I read it at Soka University in the library in 2000 before the insanity of George Bush. And it was only because of George Bush that Bernie Sanders could have even run on a platform of taking no corporate financing, because we've been told for a million years you can't run a political party, you can't run in the Democratic Party, you can't run in the Republican Party without taking corporate contributions. But Bernie Sanders took that cosmic egg and kicked a fucking hole in it and said, fuck you, we can do whatever the fuck we want because we are free. And he did it. So I don't care what you guys say about Bernie Sanders about giving his hat into the – he went to the circus. When you go to a circus, you got to be a clown, so he danced the jig at the clown. I still love him. He's going to come back in 4 years, because whoever wins in this circus cabal, which we call the Demo Republican Party, it doesn't really matter, because it's just going to be more fuel for the fire of the true revolution, which is going to put someone in power like Jill Stein, Bernie Sanders, Ralph Nader, or someone who actually is going to actually stand up for the people, not for the corporations, which is pretty much what all the rich people do. And I don't care if Donald Trump says he's an independent person and he doesn't follow the corporations. Of course he does, because they're all his contractors. Okay, and they're all going to be his financial advisors, and he's going to be part of the system. So anyway, everything that brought up for you or let down for you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, Pod and Puck, Schwartz, boys and beyond. Okay. I can't do any more. My body's saying shut down. So thank you so much for calling in, Tony. I miss you.
Okay. I'll call back. Bye.
We're going to be less political on the next one. All right. Thank you. I'm just trying to clear the air that needs to be cleared for us to go back into the healing that we used to do. And we're not going to go back in the past. We're going to go to the future of the healing that I've been waiting to do on you guys, but you guys haven't been ready. And this whole debacle called the Demo Republican conventions was able to bring out a little more in this that I'm willing to now start spinning with my magic Hollywood wand, Hollywood, which is what also the orchestra conductors used Hollywood too to conduct the orchestra, because that's what the Symphony of Destruction that's been going on in America, just dancing to the Symphony of Destruction with the Hollywood wand. It's like an orchestra. It doesn't matter what song we're playing. It's all going to be in 3/4. We're all going to be dancing the waltz. Okay. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you guys for letting me wash out some of the trash that needs to be washed out before we can get into the insane healing that we're going to get into on the next call and the next call and the next call. And it's just going to keep getting better and better and better and better and better. So I love you all. We're going to end with a song that I brought up when I talked to Dawn, because I drove across New Mexico, across Arizona, and it's the first time I drove through through the desert like that and saw the beautiful landscape of nature that I never was able to see except on postcards. And on the way back, I can't remember, I wrote the song for the Wiccan girl that I was dating at the time. Her name was Margarita. She lived in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And this is the song I wrote back in the late 90s for her. It's called Her Story, Not History. My next 4 songs on my CD that will be out soon are going to be recorded by an amazing some jazz players that are big names that I can't say the names of yet until they actually record, because they don't want them pulling out in the last minute because I'm using their name in vain. But here is Her Story, Not History, all about the good old days back when we used to burn people who were midwives because we didn't want them getting out of the MD-80 hospitals of the men who were trying to control the system, and the midwives, the ladies who had always delivered births for thousands of years, thought it was still time for women to have any say in anything. That's what this whole burning witches was about. So here it is, Her Story, Not History. The good old days.
Well, he said, she's to be seen, not heard. Who's he to say? While she bled, silent she burned, and he's to blame. With the mother, her daughter, her sisters too, at the hand of the holy white Puritan fool. Mass insanity, they call it his story, because it is his story, but his story's a lie. I wanna hear the truth, I wanna know her story. In the 1600s, he would bite the hand that feeds until they bleed, her soul devoured. It's time to set her free. I won't believe that he has the power. She's the mother, the goddess, protector of time. In the burning years, he invented the crime of humanity. They call it his story, because it